Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy digital platform for civil service exam preparation or IAS Mains exams. I have started topics of syllabus discussion series for general studies question paper 1, 2, 3 and 4. I have already discussed or uploaded question paper 1, 2, 3 in Hindi and English both medium. This is the analysis of general studies question paper 4. You know what is the requirements of UPSC and what kinds of standards or expectation we must have. We provides offline coaching classes for targeting the IAS Mains exam, and we covers each question paper of general studies within the 20 days. So you may contact for this. We can classify the GS question paper 4 into the 3 segments, and each segment separately we must prepare. Initially there are some topics have been mentioned by UPSC, and this is the part of ethics. Here there are some topics. Second is the case studies. Or third segment is some quotations. There are general simplification or classification of the GS paper 4. The topics of ethics have weightage about 100 marks. The UPSC have been asked the questions from this section having weightage up to the 100 marks, and the case studies weightage is about 120 marks. 120 marks for the case studies, and there are some quotations, and these have about 30 to 40 marks weightage. It depends upon the UPSC. Okay. First we must know, this is a perception or scenario of GS paper 4. There are some topics. First topic is ethics and human interface. This is my personal opinion. If you have understand or have the concept clarities, all about the topics have been mentioned in the syllabus, so definitely you can solve the case studies or quotation. If there is no conceptual clarity in these topics, definitely you will lack solving these questions. So first, what do you mean by the ethics? So ethics is a branch of philosophy, or sometimes called the moral philosophy, which set or provides standards for deciding or judging the right and wrong in the human behaviors. So simply it is a science or independent branch which provides set of laws or standards through which we can judge or determine what action of any human being is right, appropriate or wrong, in what circumstances any person individually or as a civil servant who did this work. So ethics provides so many topics, and all these topics are covered in the arena of right and wrong in the human behavior. So first there are the so many dimensions of human interface. So you have to understand what is the human interface. Initially the ethical standards were applied for the individual peoples or to the families or a society, but later on when these set of standards proved their relevancy or importance, so now they have applied in the public administration and in each and every sphere of human life, even science and tech, economic activities and engineering sectors, all are covered on the grounds of ethics. So the human interface is a wide approach and you have to study in details, and I will discuss the core points of this. The next topic is, there are some fundamental values of civil services. The fundamental values means what? What do you mean by the fundamental values? In the syllabus, UPSC especially have mentioned, and there are the three fundamental values: integrity, non-partisanship and the impartiality. If you know the relationship between them and how are they differ to each other and how can they be linked to each other, so definitely your conceptual clarity could be considered at the high level or the high degree of the conceptual clarity. There are some fundamental values of the civil services or public services, and through the fundamental values we can drive the civil service values like the commitment, perseverance, spirit of service and courage of conviction, accountability, responsibility, transparency, so many civil service values. And along with, we have to study, there are some human values, and human values further are divided in the social sector, they are called the social values; in the economic sphere they are called the economic values; in the cultural field they are called the cultural values. So we have to simply try to understand what is the relationship between the human values and the civil service value and the fundamental values. And the next topic, which is the probity in governance. What do you mean by the probity? And probity is not a general term. Probity consisting so many aspects of human life or the different activities of a civil servant, and how can we ensure probity of each civil servants in the systems. So it requires so many aspects. So the term probity is not a general and it is a broad term. And the next topic is, what is the attitudes? Attitudes, how the attitudes are formed and what kind of attitudes are preferred now in society, in public life, private life or as a civil servants, and what are the main components of attitudes, why the governments or training agencies, when you will be selected in IAS exam, so definitely the union government provides an intensive training facility, and through which the attitudes of the newly recruited officers government want to change, because now government is trying to obtain the benefits or to utilize their minds according to the socio-economic need of the countries. So the term attitudes we have to especially studied in the different dimension. And the next is the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, now it have applied in the public administration and it is a unique experiment we can say, because emotional intelligence generally are applied or studied in the social or cultural sectors, but recently in the different countries or the different government of the world have applied this in the administration or the civil services. So in India now it is required, every civil servant whenever it is required he must apply the emotional intelligence, because there are some aspect of the public life we can solve and we can connect Indian people with the administration which we are facing a matter of divide between the admin officers or the publics. The emotional intelligence is an important topic, and the next is ethical issues in the international matters. Generally, the foreign matters or foreign policies are deals through the diplomatic manner or on the grounds of economic activities, foreign trade, commerce, agreement in defense sectors, nuclear, science tech. But now it is requirement the foreign relationship or international relation must be based upon the ethical issues. If these relationships have the ethical approach or ethical dimension, we can ensure the durability and the great or deep friendship among them. Or the last is basic thoughts of the different philosophers, politicians and the important scholars. So, these are some topics UPSC have mentioned in the syllabus. So, it is the basic requirement. You must focus to understand deeply all the topics, or after understanding or grasping the topics, now you should start to overview the previous year question paper. So, definitely you can self introspect or self evaluate the what is the degree of or the level of your preparation. So, you must check yourself or your preparation after covering the topic 1. When you have complete the ethics part or the different ethical issues, so now you should move toward the case studies, because in the syllabus it have clearly mentioned all the case studies are depends on these topics, because case studies generally they are the incident, and when you are holding any higher public office, so such kinds of incidents are generally occurs day to day. Definitely the case studies requires a administrative approach to solving the different problems, and you can make or prepare a good case studies when you have the conceptual clarity about the topics. If there is no clarity, so definitely you will lag here. So, I personally advise you, first you must prepare the topics through the different channels, different helping centers you can contact through the different platforms, and as if you will connect with us, definitely I will provide the valuable information or the critical approach to understand the topics. So, what are the case studies? So, generally case studies have the 3 parts. When you are solving or making any case study, so first you have to diagnose the matter or incidents. Generally in the question paper, if you have overview this 200 or more than 200 words, a para or incident have been mentioned, and after analyzing this incident, the first you have to diagnose the matter incident is related what kind of ethical issues. Sometimes there may be a matter of lack of fundamental values, lack of civil service values, and the matter may have hidden value of the emotional intelligence or different kinds of attitudes. So, initially you have to drive the titles after grasping analyzing the whole incidents. Second, after diagnosis, now you have to start your course of action, because as a public servant or civil servants, you are the competent authority. You have entitled to suspend, terminate, penalize the subordinate officers. So, you have to now take action against those officers or peoples they have committed something wrong in the systems. As a civil servants, so here it is the requirement to prepare a course of action systematically. First, what will you do? what will be your first action? So generally it is started with the investigation, and the person who have committed something wrong, you personally contact and you called for, and you will give a chance to put his own sides, because this is a natural rule. You cannot take a one sided or a absolute decisions for suspending or terminating him. Definitely you must give a chance. Next, when you are investigating the matter or you are involving in the case study, so there may be some license or the we can say the externalities. It means some peoples, either who may be the ministers, member of parliament, MPs, member of MLAs, member of legislative assembly, MLAs, or the senior most IAS IPS officer, so then they may contact you and they try to influence your decision, and their request may be to take a leniency in the case. So definitely when such condition you are facing, so you must realize what are the fundamental values of civil service. You must have ensured the integrity without influencing these peoples or any kinds of pressure. Definitely you must obey or follow your duties, which duties you committed before joining the office. Last, when you have completed a course of action, so finally you have present your conclusion, in which you have presented as a competent authority, I am suspending the specific person, or if you have not such power, then you have recommended the senior authorities to immediately suspend or either terminate the person or to take the rigorous action against him, so that we can ensure the quality or delivery of public services to the Indian peoples and can enhance the loyalty or belief of Indian peoples in the Indian administration. If you have prepared the case studies regarding these values, so definitely here you can secure a good marks or the highest marks. And the last part of the syllabus is there are some quotations or statement of the important poet, scholars, scientists, philosophers, politicians, and the statement or quotations of these personalities either have social values, scientific values, or sometimes the administrative values. So definitely when we are writing answer of any quotation, so we have to link this with any ethical matters. The statement covers this kind of ethical values, and in the present administration either we are lacking such kinds of thoughts or either we are investing or improving the. For example, the important quotation of a scientist APJ Kalam. So many statements of APJ Kalam, Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln have been asked by the UPSC in the previous year question paper. So then one of the most statement of APJ Kalam is, if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful mind, so we required three important societal members. They are father, mother, and a teacher. So this is the statement, the quotation of APJ Kalam. Now you have to link this statement with any ethical values, and also the statement have some scope for the human values, because the role of father and mother start first and they have to invest the human values, social cultural values in the personality of his child, and when he grown up, definitely he have to contact with any teacher. So now teacher have to invest the value of spirit of service and service to their society, service to their people and service to their nation. So you may write a good answer of this quotation. Second quotation of Mahatma Gandhi. We can put Mahatma Gandhi in the different categories. Here I am taking the role of Gandhiji as a philosopher, because some of his thought can be studied under the philosophical lines. He have stated that a man is but a product of his thought. What he thinks, he becomes. So this is the statement of Mahatma Gandhi. So when we apply this statement in the civil services or with the role of any civil servant, so definitely we can write a good answer here. In the civil services, we have seen or we are seeing regularly so many authorities are compromising with their official duties and they are making the false commitment with the Indian peoples or the nations, and what he thinks, he becomes. If any civil servants have committed with him, with itself, definitely he can take bribe and he can deviate from his duties. So the statement of Gandhiji is fully relevant in the present, the role of any civil servant. So you can write detail. And third is a most important Greek philosopher, the Socrates. The statement of Socrates is an unexamined life of a person is not worth living. An unexamined life of a person is not worth living. So definitely it is a good statement or having social, economic and the admin worth. The Socrates statement can be applied in the present issues. If any civil servants have not self-evaluated what kind of duties have been invested into the hand of these officers, and if he is not introspecting yourself, so definitely he is lacking and he is trying to deceive not only oneself, also to the country or society. So then the unexamined life, each or every civil servants always self evaluate and self introspect, and through which they can realize or understand the worth of their public office, their duties. So when you are studying such kinds of quotations, definitely I want to say here, there is no limited scope and this is a open and the wide arena. So any quotation, any statement from the any philosopher, politicians can be asked, but when you will try to write answer, so first you should link the statement with any ethical values and try to understand or elaborate the statement in the different areas. So definitely when you will not link the statement with any ethical issues, the examiner will not provide a good marks to you. So when we have shown and I have listened to so many students and they have complained we have scored the very poor marks in the GS paper 4. It is not true, because the nature of the question paper you are not understanding appropriately. So then how can you claims to obtain a good marks? If you are preparing the question paper according to the approach, so definitely I can say you can obtain a good marks and you can cross the more than 120 out of the 250. If you have crossed the 120, definitely you can clear the exam, and you may put yourself within the list of the toppers. Now the next is, here I will discuss the two important part. One is the ethics, the different dimensions of ethics, and second is the integrity. Ethics and integrity. What is the relationship between them? Ethics mainly is considered as the meta ethics, normative ethics, and the applied ethics. This is the theoretical aspect only. What do you mean by the meta ethics? You have to study in details. So meta ethics mainly consider the matters of evolution, concept, nature of the judgment, statements, and the meanings of the different words. But the normative ethics prepare some norms or standards for determining the right and wrong behavior of a human beings or any civil servant. And there are so many norms which action of human is considered right. There are so many philosophies or approaches. One is the hedonism. The hedonism is an ideology which describes any action of human being if it provides happiness or pleasure to oneself, it is absolutely right. The ideology undermine or neglect any action finally which provides happiness and pleasure. Here is the action is neglecting the what kind of action we are taking. It is not a matter. Finally, ultimately it is resulting into a pleasure. So, it is a limited scope. Second is the utilitarian. The utilitarian concept also emphasizes the result or utility of any human action. If the activities of human beings provides pleasure, happiness and goodness to the maximum peoples, so definitely it is right or it may be right. Again, in this concept we have neglected or undermined the course of action. It is not a matter the happiness to the maximum people. So, we are neglecting some minorities or the some people. If the some peoples are not happy and they are not agree with this, so definitely they can be neglected. So, the utilitarian also have the limited scope. And next is the consequentialism. This emphasizes over the result or consequence only. Each and every activities of human beings, if they are resulting in a good manner, they are providing a good result or consequence, so definitely the course of action may be undermined. And one is, this is the Kantian ethics. Kant, the Immanuel Kant, the deontological concept of Kant. Kant have emphasized over the human actions, not result or utility or pleasure, happiness. So, he emphasized over that the action of any human being should be viewed as a itself having worth. So, each action have its own worth. So, there is no requirement we should wait for converting into a good result. The action in itself having worth. So, definitely if we are emphasizing over the human actions worthfulness, then there is least scope to giving any wrong consequence or results. And last is the Socrates concept, the virtuous or the virtue ethics. According to the Socrates, the Greek philosopher, the each and every actions of human being is good if the action is done or committed by any virtuous man. So there is no scope here to be a wrong if the action is made by any virtuous person. So there are some concept of the normative ethics, and next is the applied ethics. From the applied ethics we derive the civil service value as the human values. And the next is we have to understand the different relationship of ethics. What do you mean by the morality? How the morality and ethics to differ each other and relate to each other. Morality is studied within the arena of ethics. So ethics and morality are not the same. The scope of ethics is too wide and morality exists within the ethics. So many questions have been asked, so in details I will discuss next. The morality, the constitutional morality. The morality generally defines any action should be implemented or executed in a right manner or according to the rules and regulation. For example, the constitutional morality, union and state government always perform their duties according to the constitution. Next is what is ethics and values. What are the values? Values are also studied under the ethics, because ethics drives so many set of standards or parameters and on which we can drive so many values. Definitely values are depends upon the ethics, but they are not completely related to the ethics. They have their distinct scope too. And the law. What is the law? How the law and ethics are related to each other? Definitely, if a person is an ethical person, he has adopted the ethical values, definitely he can perform or obey the law. If a person is standing beyond the ethics, so generally he may violate the laws. So ethics makes a man to a good person and to follow the law in a right manner. So there are some topics here. Integrity. What do you mean by the integrity and what are the basis of the integrity? Generally the integrity required the knowledge. So there are two aspects, one is the knowledge or intelligence. Knowledge and this is the intelligence. Knowledge is the prerequisite for integrity. Integrity means what? To committed or to cling with the official duties and always put your official duty above the individual or the private interest. This is the integrity. Never deviate, never compromise. Generally it have been discussed in the sphere of the admin services. If any civil servant does not have a complete knowledge or intelligence, so at any points he may compromise with your duties. So without the knowledge or intelligence, the scope of integrity is very weak and less. And if a person is intelligent or intelligence with the energy, because intelligence provides the mental horizontal or the great mental scopes, or it is resulted into the high level of energy. So if you have intelligence level or energy, but you have no integrity with your society, with your duty, with your office, with your country, definitely you will harm your country. It is very harmful to your society and country. So this is the relationship between integrity, knowledge, intelligence and energy. Second, the elements of the energy, integrity. What are the elements of the integrity? Elements of the integrities are, it is mainly related with the impartiality or the non-partisanship. Non-partisanship or impartiality are the two main elements through which integrity depends. As a civil servant, if you have know the individual interest, and whenever you realize I must involve, I should take my share or to try obtain any pecuniary benefits, definitely you are compromising. And there are the two types of integrity. The types of integrity are the absolute integrity or the relative integrity. Relative and the absolute integrity. Absolute integrity means what? There is no scope of compromising with your duties. It is the 100% honesty or integrity with the official duties. There is no matter of ethical dilemmas, conflicts of interest or the individual interest. But in case of relative integrity, sometimes you compromise with your official duties, and whenever you see your individual interest, you put these your individual interest over the public interest. And when you compromise with your duties, definitely it is not a integrity, and now you have indulged in the corruption. So integrity must be maintained in a absolute manner, and it is called the intellectual integrity, which denies or refutes any kinds of compromise. Generally we are seeing nowadays so many people have the too much intelligence. They are too brilliant, intelligent people, and they have energy level too, but they are not too honesty or integrity. They have lack of integrity with their organization, with their society, with their family, with their country, and they have committed in the so many anti-nation activities. So the topic of integrity must be prepared in the different dimension. So then I will discuss these topics in detail when we will start each topics according to the syllabus, and I will try to explain all the topics according to what are the requirements of UPSC, and how can we solve all the questions which I have asked in the previous year question papers. It will be my best effort. I will try to help you, and if you want to personally any coaching class facility, so you may contact. We covers each general studies question paper within the 20 days, and after connecting with me, definitely you can ensure your IAS Mains exam. I will take the individual responsibility within 5 or 4 months, 5 or 6 months, or sometime 4 to 5 months, you can clear your IAS Mains exam. Okay, thank you.